blah. There's a song on the radio. I gotta turn it down before it fucking gets hit by YouTube for a violation of copyright stuff. All right. Oh my gosh, just all of a sudden. All right. Allergies. Oof. It's kind of like the season to have allergies, but I've been really getting my ass kicked the last couple days. Not sure what it is. Maybe it's the Rona. Maybe I'm sick. I don't know. Whoa. All right. Those are the doors. Check this out. They're fiberglass and Lexan. So, one-handed on these doors. One-handed on the doors. Hey, James. So this car came in really light, actually. Came in at 2,500 and something pounds. I forget what it was. I got a picture of it somewhere. 25 something. With Sean in it, it was 2762. Let's see, and he weighs 230, so it must have been 25, 20 something, 25, 30, which is really fucking light. You know, you add this much fiberglass and stuff. It's pretty light. Actually, what's really also amazing about this car is it's 52% rear weight distribution. Rear biased, right? 52% rear. Hey, dude. Fox P2. Yeah, so 52% rear. That's like numbers that people dream about. That's pretty awesome. Now, the engine is pretty far back. You look at the engine, it is way far back behind the front tires. Let me show you. So if we look here, here's the front axle. I mean, the whole engine is behind the front hub center line. What's up, man? Welcome to the stream. Well, not the water pump, I guess, but it's like the front axle line is right here. So this is way back. I mean, close to the firewall. So close to the firewall. So 52% rear weight distribution. And these turbos are hanging out the front of this thing, and it's 52% rear. But I mean, this whole front end weighs like 40 pounds. It's just all fiberglass. So there's not much in this thing. Lexan windows, fiberglass body. I think this is steel though. I don't know. Is this steel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's steel. I think it's Bondo right there. The steel right there. Yeah, so it came in at super light. And like I said, for the 5th time, 52% rear bias, and that's pretty amazing. So why didn't we race? Or even, why didn't we get successful dyno polls? Trying to be tactful about this, because the guys that sold us DynoTime and everything were super cool. They were fun to hang out with. They were very nice. They were patient with us when we had issues with time. That was all wonderful, and those guys were great. When Sean had scheduled for me to come out, he was like, "Hey, I found a hub dyno. It's like an hour away. It's not too far. It's this place. There's the name." I looked it up, and I saw the DynoCom sticker on the wall. I was like, "Fuck." It's like, Sean, man, DynoCom is the worst fucking dyno ever made. And I jokingly said that you could take a dually, flip the axle over, and put a counterweight on the drive shaft flange, and it would be a better performing dyno than a fucking DynoCom. Unfortunately, I was right. And the entire tune time that we had was spent fighting the fucking dyno and trying to get it to load the car correctly. Wouldn't load the car correctly, or it would start load the car for a minute, and the boost would come in, and the dyno would just let go. You could watch turbo speed go up, 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 and then go up, as RPMs increased, and turbo speed would just slow back down. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure, man. Jason says mainline for the win. Absolutely. Mainline's a great dyno. Even Land and Sea, they make a great hub dyno. Dynapack's a decent one. It's way better than fucking DynoCom. So now, why did we have the issue? Was it all DynoCom's fault? I don't know. I don't want to say yes. I do know that when I had the DynoCom, it was absolute complete pile of shit. None of the features that they sold us worked. At the time, it was a $90,000 dyno. They told us it had all these features. It had linked rollers. It had hold speed. It inertia, and it had 2 load cells and all kinds of stuff, and none of it fucking worked ever. We could only do just regular inertia pulls, and that was it. The roller link system broke almost every time I put a car on it, which meant it sheared bolts or a giant drive shaft went flopping around beating against things. It was buggy. The software was always failing. The J-box never worked. The controller didn't respond to commands. The software would crash all the time. You lose sync to the dyno. Like, nothing ever fucking worked on it. I spent more time trying to get the dyno to work than it, yeah. I wish, dude. I wish. I tried. And finally, when I went to sell it many years later, let's see, I got it in 09 or 2010. I went to sell it in 13, into 13, early 14, and they offered me $17,000 for it to buy it back. I was like, you fucking cunts. Like, I had nothing but problems with this fucking dyno, and then you're like, well, it's broken, so it's only worth $17,000. You fucking dicks, yeah. Yeah, fuck DynoCom, man. I tell you. Yeah, I'm ready to come down. So, yeah, bad. Anyways, so the highest pull we got to somewhat read on the dyno was like 850 something wheel. And horsepower was going up, and then the dyno would unload and it would go down. And I should post videos because you can hear it go, and then just like fucking bam, hits the rev limiter, and let's go. Now, is that because the dyno is a piece of shit, or is it because we were giving it too much? I don't know. But if you think about it, it's a hub dyno. And the hub dyno doesn't give a shit what your tire diameter is at all. What it does care about is rear end ratio. So now if I'm in third gear, 1-to-1 ratio, it's got 4.7 rear gears. If this engine makes 1,000 foot-pounds of torque, we'll just making up a number, and that means that dyno is seeing 4,700 foot-pounds of torque that it has to hold back. That's a tall order for any dyno, in my opinion, honestly. So, I think that if this car had, like, say, 308 gears in it, we probably would have been successful that day. But it's got 470s. And that's a lot of multiplication, and I don't think that dyno was rated to handle, you know, the torque. I mean, this thing was going to make 800 pounds of torque.
Yeah, he kind of thought that in the beginning.
I wish you would have told me that.
He did say it.
Oh, did he? Not to me.
Yeah.
That's okay. Regardless,
based on those gears, he goes, I don't know if that dyno can handle that.
I don't have any animosity with them. They were awesome. They were an awesome crew. I liked working with them. They were nice. Like I said, they were kind. They were patient. You know, they were understanding. They helped us when we had issues with stuff. So like that, they're totally awesome. But yeah, I think this car was just too much for it, because it seemed like every time the torque got close, then it would let go. And as I raised boost, it just let go sooner. So I'd raise boost on the car and it would just freewheel and not load the car. So could we have been successful with different gears? Probably. We probably absolutely could have. I mean, 3,200 foot-pounds of torque is a lot less than 4,700 pounds of torque. So if it was like a 3.2 or, you know, whatever. So I think we could have been successful with different gears, but regardless, we weren't. But I was able to get most of the data that I needed on the dyno. I was able to hit most of the load cells that I needed to hit to get a general idea of what the VE curve of this engine setup is going to look like. So I have that pretty close now. Close enough that I can utilize closed loop control to make small corrections, even in the power band, in the power range, get a log, and then adjust the base map based on those corrections. So we're close enough, and the ECU is powerful enough that we shouldn't have any issues getting the rest of it dialed in. So that being said, we didn't go racing, not because of that, however, but because the steering was not correct. Once we widened the front end to get the camber that it needed in the front, the hubs were now too wide for the tie rods that were in the car. So we had to scour the planet for tie rods, inner tie rods and outer tie rods that were long enough to get what we needed in the front end. And this thing had a Pinto rack in it, and the Pinto rack was a very rare configuration where instead of the tie rods being male, the tie rods were female, where they plugged into the rack. That's not typical at all, and there aren't a whole lot of racks out there that have that. A Durango, one of the Geos, a Pontiac, and something else use that style, but they all had different outer thread pitches. So the thread pitch that went into the outer tie rod was totally different. And we couldn't get any outer tie rod ends that would work with his knuckles in that thread pitch. So we had to use his old ones, drill them out on the, or mill them out with the mill, and then thread them to be M14 thread pitch. So that's why we didn't get,
Ready?
we didn't get that done. Now, we are going to do something cool though.
We are.
We're going to test the line lock, we're going to test the trans brake, and we're going to test the bump feature right here in Sean's driveway. So for those 4 people that came in and split already, you fucking missed out, because I'm excited to see if it works. His driveway is luckily uphill, so if he decides to have a failure or something, he at least is going uphill before it hits the neighbor's lawn across the street in the mailbox. So we'll see, but hopefully we get smoke clouds from the right materials, rubber and not oil, and that kind of stuff. So
I'm not going to do a line lock burnout on my driveway.
yeah, you are. And then, oh, I forgot I don't know if I set up the transmission temp and pressure on here. I know it's in the software, but I don't know if I had the input 1 or 2. Oh, I did. That's right, because I went and opened it. Look, okay, very good. You are good. So let me turn this camera out so look at my ugly mug. I'm going to guide him out. You'll see we got a little obstacle course back there with his camper. And his wheel's straight now, so he's super happy. Hope it's not flooded again after quite. Getting there. Which one's tranny?
Oh, already up.
That's transmission?
Yeah,
I thought that was gauges.
It is. When you go all the way up, it turns on the rear lights and the tranny controller.
Oh, so these are nothing?
No.
Oh, okay, I thought that one was tranny for some reason. Gotcha.
So when I'm on the trans brake, I can just let off the gas, right? Just hit the brake, put the motor on the limiter, and then let off the gas and bring it back down. got it set at 5K. Like I said, I don't know if we'll get there. And I didn't set the retard yet on the bump. So, we'll see where it goes first. And then I'll plug in and I'll check the bump and I'll add the retard on the bump. And then we'll see if we get any higher doing that. But we gotta get warm first.
You don't want me to try the bump right away then?
Well, no, I want to see how high we're able to get up on the stall first, just by itself. And then you can do the bump if you want, check the bump. But first I just wanted to and see if how high it gets. You gotta hold it for a while because the turbos take a while to come in, you know.
Where's the boost?
Right in the middle, on the left side there.
Oh, right there.
Yeah. And then if it doesn't get up on the converter much, then I want to go in and...
Are you streaming this?
Yeah.
I wish I had a video of this.
Well, it'll be on the internet forever, so you'll have a video. And then we'll go to the bump, and I'll add the timing retard when you hit the bump button, and that'll help flash the turbos up a little bit. You'll pump in, it'll flash them up a little bit, and I just gotta see how aggressive to do the retard on it. I can't be too aggressive because then it loses torque and drops down. But if I'm not aggressive enough, it won't flash turbos much. So it's like a little bit of a, you know, each car's gonna be a little different. I'm guessing 15, 20 degrees will be plenty. Maybe too much, we'll see. One is low boost. 4 is the highest boost.
Which is what?
20. 1 is 10. So I would say 2 is probably a good spot for that. I'd say put it on 2 and do that. That's 13 and a half. Yep, that's what I would do.
181.
181, that's my number. Do it again, but hit the bump this time.
It was only at like...
I saw that. Yeah, it wasn't pulling very hard. That's fine.
Why hit the bump? Just to see what it does?
Yep, see if it works.
Alright, you ready?
Yep. So 0.2 is too much.
I was like, shit.
You're like, I'm going down the driveway. Alright, so I'll stop. It's only 0.2, that's not even that much.
I think we need a 0.0.
Yeah, 0.0 something there, for sure.
I was like,
Alright, let's get in here with software. I was like, whoa, that suspension's pretty soft. Because you're not even, I mean, you're only at 3 pounds of boost or 2 pounds of boost when that happened.
how far did it come up?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like it. I was like, I'm worried of slamming my damn head off the roll bars.
Shit, that's funny. Alright. That's weird, I thought I had it open still. torque to my turbo.
Interesting. Should I mash the gas quickly?
Yeah, you just put it to the floor as fast as you can. Just hold it and let it do its thing. What?
Did you change the bump?
I changed the bump to 0.05. I also did it so it only released the trans brake 75% instead of 100%.
Okay, I don't know what that's going to do. Ready?
Okay, 3.7, 3.8. All right, do that one more time and click the bump. Do that one more time and click the bump.
I don't want to click the button when it's up that high.
Why not?
No roll, no helmet on. No, I mean, I don't feel like that's a great idea.
Well, I got to pull in 20 degrees of timing when you do, so torque should drop pretty quick
All right.
for the first test.
All right.
Just put your head against the seat. There you go.
Yeah, son. We got to cut that out.
All right, so just, I would say, just test the line lock
My
for like,
neighbors are calling the cops right now. That's what I'd say.
you should test the line lock at least for a second.
Oh yeah, okay.
But you gotta be in gear for that. Does it work? Let's get a little bit. Oh. Yeah, it doesn't have enough grip to hold the car is the question. With a little bit of throttle.
I smell like you wouldn't believe from something.
Oh, exhaust is gonna be hot. For sure. Training's hot.
We were on the brake though.
For a while, yeah.
Look how nice.
back in. Okay. Got his first wrinkle. It's alright, we can neutral push the rest. Just need to go forward like 3 inches. Took a while to get up on the converter, but eventually it did.
It'll go pretty easy.
The bump feature definitely helped because it retarded the timing and it did go.
It helped it. It
Yeah.
definitely. I was bumping it, watching it, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna work. And then it went. It just blasted through it.
Yeah, so we can test more retard and less retard on that. Actually, I can use that button position. I can set all of them to the most boost on the top end and have them be degrees of retard, and you can just test it, which one gives you the best flare on that.
That worked though.
Yeah, it did, because I can set an axis based on bump position and based on rotary knob position, I'm pretty sure.
You want to come? Can you just nudge me forward a little bit?
Yeah, you're in neutral?
Yeah.
Okay. Push on this big square cloth thing back here. Okay.
That's good. Is that all right?
Yeah, you're clear.
Okay.
Yeah, you hit 19 pounds of boost.
Did it really?
Look at the screen. I was watching you go, what you did? I'm like, I wonder if he's gonna let off or not. I'm like, guess not.
I was just enjoying the show.
Right. I was like, all right, sweet. Just gonna sit there on it. That was good. I look forward to watching replay. Hopefully my connection's not so bad that it's just all fucking static and pixelation.
Because that was awesome. I saw shit flying in the yards.
Oh yeah, on the sides. It's gonna work. Whether you have enough time to stage and get that on the brake that much or not is up to you. And you can start further back, you know, and then bump 3 times in if you need to or something. It actually bumped a decent amount. It was definitely.
I thought I did it 3 times.
You did 3 or 4. Yeah.
You let it go off a little more or
I see a little oil spatter on there. I'm trying to see if that's just from the can spitting a little bit, which is understandable if it's brakes or what. Just one little spot right there. I don't see where it's coming from. It's a light little, like I sneezed on it or something. I think it's good, man. I think it's gonna be good. When it bumped, how were the G-forces on the bump?
Not bad.
No.
That was a lot better than the first one.
Yeah.
The first one was like, oh shit.
Yeah. The fucking front end of the car went in the air on that first one.
Yeah.
Like it rose like fucking 5 inches, I think.
It doesn't have much more left than that.
Right. So I think wheelie bars touched the ground. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, they could have. So if you joined us late, at least you got to see that part, hopefully. Earlier in the stream, I talked about why we didn't make it to the track, the issues we had with the DynoCom dyno, despite the efforts of everybody that was helping us out. And then the little car issues that we, I know, once we said together, we're not going racing. It sucks, but we're not going racing. Once we did that though, like a huge weight was lifted off our shoulders and we were able to come to the house in this tiny little fucking garage and work for 2 more days without this feeling of extreme pressure, and get a bunch of little things, you know, ironed out and polished up that we want to do. And there's still a bunch of little stuff that he will spend time doing. Like there's a lot of things that need nylock nuts instead of regular nuts and lock washers. There's a bunch of things like that, like for safety reasons and things like that he'd go in and redo. There's more wiring that needs to be tidied up. I spent a few hours today tightening up the wiring, getting the sensors in, getting other stuff to work and hook up. So yeah, there's a lot of that kind of stuff that he can still do, but as it is now, technically, like, we can run it now. So we just got done, and of course I fly out tomorrow. I just checked in for my flight, but it could be run now, and while running it at the track was more of a goal, getting it running so that he could run the track, I think, is almost as important.
Yeah.
So overall, like it's pretty awesome.
I'm gonna grab the doors.
Okay, I'm just gonna wait for the cops to show up.
They'll be coming.
It's a normal hour of the day. They can't bitch.
The tone is a little different when it's up there.
Oh, when something's on the limiter. It did good though. Like, that thing's gonna rip. I mean, fuck, man. I was really hoping that you would let off the fucking brake when it was at full boost like that. Just to see.
I thought I'd be in their mailbox.
I really wanted to see it. Because once you come off that limiter, man, that's gonna be a fucking ride, man. I'm smiling. Like I don't smile this much or very often when I'm playing with cars these days, because a lot of them are just, you know, they're cool, all right, you know. But stuff like this is exciting, especially when you can get a launch down like that. Now, you can get a launch like that in a manual car, then you really see me smiling. Without slipper clutches. I fucking hate slipper clutches. That's a rant for another day. Sean had me going, man. I was fucking fired up yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before I was so fired up?
Yesterday.
It was yesterday, yeah. Yeah, I'll save that rant for another day, but manual transmission guys with slipper clutches, you're not fucking racers. Go to fucking hell. So I'll get that rant out one other day. What's up, buddy?
The door is killing me.
Are you standing inside of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that fender is still kind of in the way. Yeah. You want a hand when we pull the fender out for you?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how I can. Oh, I can just probably push right here.
No,
Nope.
it needs to go.
Oh,
Yeah, like
I just
that.
do that because it's not attached on the bottom. Is that enough? How about that? It's my face. Did you get it?
Yeah.
I can let go?
Me.
My fingers out before you showed
Fix
it?
that.
Yeah, I mean, well, this whole thing should come out a 1/2 inch anyways.
Yeah.
I'm fucking you guys like my face. Sorry about that. This one here should come out a 1/2 inch because here. Or if the door's adjustable, adjust it in some. So, fiberglass doors. You can one hand pick those things up. And the way they have it set up, it's literally just 2 pins. So you still have some wires to tidy up. But I spent a bunch of time working on this already. This is fucking way better than it was before, let me tell you. The pins, it's just pins. So they just sit on the pins. You stand inside it and align the pins up. This one attached? Nope. Top looks good.
I can't see them.
That top's not quite good. Let me get your light. It's dark down there. Where's your light at? It's kind of, oh, here's the light. Found it. Stop looking. Here, maybe out.
Oh, that's way better. Here we go.
Look at that.
your battery low? Is that what's flashing at me?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh shit! I can't wait to watch that video again and see him hitting it the first time when it went wah. If you I wheelied in my driveway.
I think the converter's a little tight.
Yeah, the converter's definitely a little tight. Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to my transmission guy.
I mean, you get one free done.
He'll reinstall it for me for in the price of the purchase.
I mean, it got to 5.
It did.
It got to 5, but it took a while to get there.
It did. In the car, it felt like an eternity.
It wasn't eternity out of the car too. Yeah.
But I was like, I'm keeping it down. I want to see it.
Yeah.
I want that limiter.
I mean, we have outputs available. You know, we can throw a crossover on this exhaust and feed all the exhaust to one turbo for just staging. When the trans rake's in, the valve shuts, puts all the exhaust in one turbo, then you release that fucking thing and the other turbo comes in. We can do that. We have the technology. Okay, so it has no intercooler. That's another aspect too I forgot to mention. The car has no intercooler. And unfortunately, during dyno tuning and just the short abbreviated pulls that we got with the dyno unloading and everything, intake air temp was still like 240 degrees after a while. So that is really hot. And yeah, so it needs an intercooler. Even with ethanol, that's just too much heat. And so you got to witness that and see that. And I think that now we're going to put an air-water intercooler in it. Now he can race without it.
Still have the water pump.
Yeah, here. He can race without it if he wants. I mean, could you run methanol? You mean like injection or actual methanol in the engine? I mean, you could do both technically, but...
I don't have enough injector for ethanol.
Yeah, we would need double the injector for methanol. We need the IE 2600s
fuel pump for it.
at a minimum, and then
I'll close this up.
2 of them per cylinder, and then just a lot. It takes so much more fuel.
When the sheriff comes, he'll be like, all right,
What are you talking about? I'm done. Pre-turbo spray. Yeah, right? I mean, you don't got to punch that in to go down. It said to go down, you don't got to punch it in. You just hit the bottom button.
oh, just one.
Yeah, it even shows down arrow on it, saying you just hit it to shut it. It's only to open it. Yeah, I know where you're going with that, Justin. Let me tell you why I'm not a fan of that. And by that I mean just methanol injection anyways. Chemical intercooling, they call it, right? Chemical intercooling on something like this, I think is fucking bullshit. And I'll tell you why. When you have the amount of fuel that's going into this engine compared to like a methanol car where they run no intercooler stuff because they have, fucking 4 times the amount of fuel going into the car than you do in an ethanol car. You only have so many BTUs of heat you can absorb. You can absorb it from the chamber. You can absorb it from the intake charge. You can absorb some from the chamber and some from the intake charge. But there's only so much available. And you can't just say, oh, we'll just add more fuel, because then that richens the entire mixture. And then you have to worry about losing power, run the wrong AFRs, etc. At the correct AFR, you only have so much room to work with extra fuel. So do I want to take away chamber cooling for the sake of intake charge cooling? I don't. Now, I could try running it richer. We can run it at 10.8 to 1 on a gasoline scale, so like a 7, was it a 7.5 or 7.4 lambda instead of 8.5 lambda? I mean, we could do that, but is that going to impact other things? Yeah, probably. So I can't just add fuel to the airstream and say, oh, it's going to cool stuff. That same BTU still goes into the engine, right? Now, where'd it come from? It depends. If the car had a fuel cooling system on it and we were putting in, 50-degree fuel in it or 50-degree ethanol into it, maybe that would help. But really, overall, I think intercooler is the answer. Now, like I said, in the case of methanol, where the car is running just methanol, and there's that much extra fuel in the engine, like those things have all that mass, at that point, like I was telling Sean this morning, I believe that it's beneficial not to run intercooler in that situation because there's so much fuel in there that the heat from the intercooler aids in atomization of the fuel to help increase or I want to say homogeneous, but it's like homogeneity, right? To make the charge more homogeneous, you need to atomize the fuel. And so in the case of a methanol injected car that has a 1.7 to 1 stoichiometric ratio, having the heat from the turbocharger helps to preheat the fuel and everything else and get a better atomization in the cylinders. But in the case with ethanol, where it's, we're going to be running like 7.5 to 1, right? Not 1.7, right? 7.5 to 1 AFR, then we just don't have as much fuel there to absorb the heat.
I need to interrupt you.
Okay.
It's after 7, dinner. We talked about maybe going to Kasai, the Japanese place down the road.
Oh, that sounds fun.
We have to go pretty quickly.
Okay.
So I'm going to go talk to her
Like
real
sushi?
quick. And they have sushi, they have all kinds
Badass.
of stuff.
Let's do that.
So we have to get cleaned up. But
Can I wear this?
yeah,
Can I wear a shirt with a gun on it?
yeah,
Okay.
please do.
Thank you.
I'm going to clean myself up.
Okay, sounds good.
Would you pull the lights?
I will. I will turn them off. We gotta go to dinner. Maybe some sushi. So, anyways, I don't think chemical intercooling is that great. I think it could be useful in aiding some, but I'm not really into the chemical intercooling that much. Now, that being said, Justin, I talked about chemical intercooling. I have a pre-turbo spray to make the turbos themselves more efficient. That's what BTUs to take out. Okay, not as many BTUs to take out. I can see that, but there's still more BTUs going in than if you had an intercooler, and you're taking those BTUs and putting them into the atmosphere, right? The intercooler takes them and puts them in the atmosphere. With the BTUs, with chemical intercooling, you're still putting it in the engine, right? And so you got to find that balance. I mean, if you have a surplus of fuel and you don't have an engine that's working stupid hard, where you need a bunch of cooling in the cylinder, then that's one thing. If you have a surplus of cooling, energy there, then yeah, you could probably do that. But we're talking about an engine that's making over 1,000 horsepower. The cooling that we get is what we get, and we need what we can get, right? A pump gas car, for example, needs a lot of cooling. A turbocharged pump gas car that's running, high back pressure, small turbo for efficiency, it needs a lot of cooling. And I just don't, I don't think you're going to get a surplus of enough fuel that you can get away with taking away cooling from the chamber to put it into the intake charge. Again, I haven't done the math on that. Okay, that's just what my brain tells me about the amount of energy that's in the system and the amount of methods that we have to take it out of the system. That's my brain tells me. So I can't say that it's necessarily right, but that's what I feel it is. And when it comes to things like that, I'm often right. I have a good intuition for that, and that's just something that I was given, I guess. My physics instructor was always blown away at the answers they give me. He asked some hypothetical in class, and I go, well, I feel like this. And he's like, holy shit, how did you think of that? And I'm like, I don't know. He goes, well, that's the topic of today. Thanks for ruining today's lesson, that kind of stuff. So I have a decent intuition for that, and I just, that's kind of where, that's how I feel. But again, it has to do with surpluses. If we have surpluses of cooling available in the fuel, then we can move that surplus to intercool the intake charge. If we don't have a surplus, then we're moving it from somewhere that's very vital, and that's the chamber, and that makes me uncomfortable. So Sean wanted the new intercooler on this because he said, lots of people don't run intercooler, so I'm not going to run intercooler. I'm not going to push it that hard. And the temps were really, really high. Now, obviously, the fuel is injected after all of that, after the 240. The fuel is injected after that and cools the intake charge to some extent. But again, I wanted to focus on the chamber and less on cooling the intake charge, that fuel. So we're going to put a cooler intercooler on it. And yes, air to water. And yes, that might make the rear balance of the car only 51% or 50% instead of 52%. Because it will be air to water. We already have the core picked out. It's a CSF core. It's a good high quality core. more turbulence, more restriction. Yeah, it's not great, and he knows that, and that was the next thing on his list to fix anyways. It isn't even so much the why is that it's not that turbulent, it's that it's got that restriction right there at the end too, so it's not great, and he knows that. And he's gonna fix it. Oh, Sean's texting me, gotta go. That's fine, let's go. Means I gotta go. So, oh, I missed one of the lights. I thought I had lights, I missed one. Anyways, thanks guys. We're gonna go to dinner. We'll eat some fucking sushi. Gonna give everybody the Rona. Just kidding, not Corona. And I will see you guys again in a couple days when I get back and do some more shit. So, thanks guys. Have a good one. Where's the button? There.